This video describes the procedure for preparing anaerobic medium. And the medium that we're going to prepare today is a modified version of the DSMZ 141 recipe. You're going to need all of the chemicals that go into the medium, some reagents like the trace element solution. These are usually kept in the fridge. I just took them out onto the bench. You're going to need the medium bottles as well as the rubber septa. And this is the weighing station with some weighing boats and chem wipes. And this is the beaker in which we're going to prepare the medium. And there's a little stir bar inside. First, we want to make sure that the beaker and the stir bar that we are using are not only clean, but also triple washed with ultra pure water. So I'm going to turn the ultra pure water system on and wash the beaker and stir bar. Next step is to prepare water. I am going to prepare a total of 1 liter of medium today. So what I'm going to do is pour 950 milliliters of water into this triple washed beaker. We want to use ultra pure water for that because we don't want any extra ions that are not included in the chemicals that we add to the medium. And the reason why I left that 50 milliliter of room, instead of filling it all the way up to 1 liter, I filled in 950 milliliter, and that's because I want to leave some room for adding other liquid reagents, as well as during pH adjustment, which is in the later step of the procedure. You will be adding acid or base in the liquid form, so you want to leave a little bit of room for that. So here is the 950 milliliter of ultra pure water in the beaker. I'm going to start stirring it. And now the next step is to add these chemical ingredients into the water according to the recipe. And I'm going to be using this scale. So I'm going to add 0.34 grams per liter of potassium chloride as the first ingredient. First thing you want to do is to zero the scale. So place 1 weighing boat gently, close the slide door, and then you're going to press 0 to subtract the weight of the weighing boat. Okay, that looks good to me. So I need to place this into water. Alright, so I have moved the solution to this gassing station because we're going to be using this nitrogen CO2, 20% CO2 mixture to bubble the medium while we're adjusting the pH of the medium. And the reason why we want to do that is because the final headspace of the medium is 20% CO2. So if you adjust the medium pH with just regular lab room air, the pH in the medium bottle might change or will change when it is filled with 20% CO2 later. So we want to avoid that, so I'm going to use the gassing station to do that. Here's a pH meter that we're going to be using, the pH calibration solutions, and some acid and base in case we need to adjust the pH of the solution. You need ultra pure water to rinse off the pH probe, and some extra ultra pure water to fill up the volume at the end, as well as these serological pipette. And again, these bottles, medium bottles, already have been washed with ultra pure water, and the rubber septa as well. Alright, so first I'm going to set up the medium with the gas mixture because it might take some time to for CO2, 20% CO2 to equilibrate with the medium. So I'm going to set that up first and then I'll calibrate the pH meter. So for this I just use a 1 milliliter serological pipette. It's very thin. And I just connect it directly to the gas line. And all of the steps described in this video doesn't have to be sterile because we're going to autoclave the medium bottle anyway. This is the pH probe that we're going to be using. So I'm powering this up. Right now, this is in measurement mode. And there are 6 different buttons. Mostly you will just need this calibration or measurement switch button, and then the enter to select your entry, and this is the power button. So in order to calibrate your pH probe, you're going to submerge the tip of your pH probe inside a standard solution. And it's important to do that with a temperature probe. And I'm going to gently take this off. This is normally stored in this pH probe storage solution that is saturated with potassium chloride. And just be careful not to touch the tip of the pH probe, because that can be very sensitive. So just slide this off after you've opened the cap of this. And you're just going to give it a few rinse with nano pure water and Kim wipe. So it's important here to not touch the probe again, this blue part, with anything other than the Kim wipe. So usually I hold it like this and add some ultra pure water around the tip and just gently rinse the tip of it. After you do that, it's also important to remove the residual water from the surface with a new Kim wipe, because you're going to be submersing this in the pH solution, and you don't want to dilute your standard solution. So this can now go into pH 4 standard solution. So just gently place it in the falcon tube. And same for the temperature probe. So now you have both the pH probe and the temperature probe in the standard solution. And the pH reading is 4.07, which is not too bad because this is supposed to be pH 4. So now what you do is you press Cal Mes to switch to calibration mode. And then you will see that changed from measurement to calibration. And you just wait, give it a few seconds or minutes until the reading becomes stable. Once it shows ready sign over here, that means that the reading is pretty stable. Disappeared again. Once the reading becomes stable, you're going to press enter, and then you're going to do the same rinsing step for both probe and the temperature probe, and place the probes inside the other pH solution. Alright, so the calibration is done. Now I've switched back to the measurement mode, as you can see there, and in the pH 7 solution it is reading 7.00. So it is ready to go. Now I'm going to place the pH and temperature probe in suspension in this medium, and to do that I usually just use a simple trick with lab tape to hold these probes in place in an optimal position. So because the steering plate is adding a little bit of height, I'm going to use this ring stand to kind of hold the pH and temperature probes. So rinse the probe again after taking it out of the standard solution. Dry it with skim wipes. And you really just need the tip to be submerged entirely, and you don't have to dunk the whole thing into the medium, or you really don't want to do that. So I'm just going to tape the wire around here to fix the position. If you look from the side, you can see how much of the pH probes are submerged in the medium. Okay, so now I'm going to distribute the medium into these bottles. Today I'm preparing two different sizes of bottle. In the larger bottle, which I believe is around 250 milliliters of volume, I'm going to put 100 milliliters of the medium. And for this one, I think is about 60 milliliter volume, I'm going to add 30 milliliters of liquid medium. After that, you're going to cap the top with this blue rubber septum. And a trick for this is to have a little bit of water, ultra pure water, around the side of the rubber septum. That will make your life a lot easier when you try to push this into the bottle opening. And then to finish, you're going to use this aluminum cap to crimp the rubber septa onto the medium bottle. At this point, it's important to use the twisting action, not a pushing action, in order for the rubber septum to go in smoothly. So now this is fully in. And finally, we're going to finish off with the aluminum crimp. So place the crimp on top of the rubber septum and place the crimper at a 90 degrees angle from the bottle and crimp it all the way. You should see the bottom of the crimp is surrounding the neck of the bottle opening, so you can compare that with the regular crimp.